How do you think AI is evolving the music industry?
If you're poor and you can't afford it, then you're just fucked.
What does the top look like for you?
So if I can fucking like shoot a RPG at a building, I'm at the top.
Well, why would they bully you? What did you do?
If you can't even be violent, then it's not a choice. It was a hard home life, really, like with the immigration.
Were you always worried about getting sent back?
Damn.
Are you happy? I'm going to welcome you guys back to another episode of the world's most versatile podcast, The Bean Dip, where bean dips into the minds of those aspiring to be great. I have STGDIMI. We are at Studio Kai,
Fox River Grove. Yeah.
Studio Kai, Fox River Grove, on the suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. We are going to dip into the mind of the producer, STGDIMI. I can't, it's such a tongue twister. STGDIMI.
STGDIMI.
That's right?
Yep.
So go ahead and introduce yourself.
What up, guys? I'm STGDIMI. Swear to God, Dimmy. Swear to God. I'm a producer, rapper, make house music, all that good stuff.
I like house music.
Hell yeah,
house
man.
music is cool. I was listening to your stuff on the way to pick up my friend, and it was pretty cool.
Thanks, dude.
I could give you my honest opinion, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't like yes man, because you never know. Different people like different stuff.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, there was a little bit of different genre in between I don't remember the songs because it was difficult for me to do my homework because I've been traveling so much. I wanted to I was doing as much as I can.
Yeah.
But there was this one called Step Me Up, or what's it called?
Step Me Up.
It's called like Step On Them or something. It's on SoundCloud. The cover is green. I think it has the car on it. I think it's called like Step Me On or something.
Oh man, dude, the one I just released, it's from Emeralds 2. The project I just released. And I know I had like 7 songs on there or something. It was Think of You, Emo Digital Dash, Dennis Rodman, Shine Bright, and whatever the one you like is the one that I might have forgot the name. Yeah,
it's called Step Something. I really liked it. I really liked it. What got you into producing? How long have you been doing this for?
Producing, I think I've started when I was in high school, really.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to, but my homeboy, when I was like 14, I would go over to my homie's house, and he had like a little setup. He had FL and stuff, so I would work with him.
Fruity Loops.
Yeah. And, but then eventually my homie put me onto this software, LMMS. So a lot of people don't know about it. It's like a Linux-based producing. It's kind of like FL.
Linux.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I downloaded that, and then I just started messing around and stuff, and pretty much it just went from there. And yeah, I've been producing a lot more recently.
So what exactly is producing? What entails being a producer?
Producing, for me, is pretty much when I feel like restless or like I gotta get a vibe out. I don't like just clicking in stuff. I need to have like the MIDI and actually play the notes, and I'm bouncing, and it's almost like you're playing live when you're producing for me. So it's not necessarily just someone who sits in the studio just plugging in VSTs or whatnot. For me, you have to actually, if you want to be a producer, you gotta kind of like put your feeling into it, what you really are feeling, if you want to get that out.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. And then when you make music, you're rapping over the own beats that you make?
I want to get to that point. I've done it before in the past, but I wasn't really taking it so seriously at the time. So right now, I'm trying to shift to that point, but I use mainly stock plugins. I don't have anything fancy. So I feel like I need to kind of level up a little bit to live up to that standard that I'm trying to hit.
Right. It always comes to leveling up. I mean, you got to start somewhere.
Right.
So what does your current setup entail?
Right now at my home studio that I have like a AKG mic similar to the ones that we have here, MK22 Steinberg interface,
Mm-hmm.
and I just use PreSonus Studio One, which again is kind of a more slept on software. Um, and then I have like an iMac that's like 10 years old.
Dude,
Yeah.
Apple makes some really good stuff for editing, any type of editing, video editing, music engineering,
Yeah.
anything. Because I recently just got rid of my MacBook from 2018, and that thing was still running strong. I didn't even need to get rid of it.
Yeah, they have like antivirus built in or something like that.
Yeah,
or
no,
it's
they're
less,
super powerful
like,
too.
susceptible to crashing and
Right.
whatnot.
So you use Logic at all?
I've used it before. There's a local studio that I book that's free, like if you're a citizen of the town or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't even live there anymore. I'm gonna snitch on myself. But my ID says, so I'm like, I'm just gonna use it when I can, because my
Right.
neighbors hate when I scream and yell profanity. So I go there and they have Logic to answer your question. So
Right.
yeah, that's where I use it, but it's not my favorite, just because I'm not familiar with the hotkeys and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
See, so yeah, with my editing software, like I use Final Cut. I can use any, but I know all the commands and I know all the shortcuts, so it makes the workflow so much easier.
Right.
When it comes to progressing in your workflow, what are some things that you practice in creating that track?
When I'm doing a specific track, I would say I'm really a wild card because I have a lot of versatility, but I have different ways of going about it depending on my mood or the time of day. A lot of songs I write it down, and I'm really particular about my wordplay and putting like visualizing into my lyricism. And the ones that I write down and I record it afterward, it really just comes down to like, I feel more professionalism in how you execute it when you're recording, really.
Right.
But some of my favorite songs that I made have just been, 20, 15 minutes left in the session, and we just throw on a beat and I just freestyle. And I feel like the freestyle is, I like doing it a little bit more because it just comes natural. It's whatever you're thinking
Right.
about.
Right. I can't freestyle or anything. It's difficult enough to even carry a conversation without stuttering. So freestyling is even more difficult. I have noticed there's like like the common denominator between all of the artists and like music producers, artists, rappers, whatever. They all freestyle. I've only like talked to one that writes stuff down, and I feel like freestyling is cool because it's off the top and it's difficult. It's a lot more difficult, obviously. But I just feel like you would have more. You would be able to write better, like have better songs or like better word usage if you wrote it down. That's the way I
Right.
see it with freestyling. So I don't know. A lot of people do it. And a lot of people are good. I'm not trying to take that away from anyone.
No, of course. If you have like a lot on your mind, then it's easier, I think.
Uh-huh.
Or for some people, it just comes naturally. Like Juice, I know for Juice World, he was one of the best freestylers, they said.
Right.
But honestly, nowadays I won't even front. They can punch you in, and if you have like that chemistry with your engineer, they just know like I'm gonna punch him back, and he ran out of stuff to say, and then you're just punching in, really. So that makes it a lot easier to freestyle.
Makes sense. Yeah, he was also on drugs.
Right. That helps.
I'm not
too.
laughing at. I mean, I don't really like.
My favorite song that I made right now, I think I was like 6 White Claws deep in here, just.
But that's not a drug. I mean, alcohol is a drug. It's just different because, like, I mean, I guess you can die from alcohol.
Yeah.
But like, they were on pills. Pills is crazy.
It is crazy.
Pills is wild. Like,
It is crazy.
people die from pills, bro. That shit's insane.
Opium is messed up.
It's
pandemic.
wild.
Yeah.
He was good at freestyling
Not
and stuff, from what I've heard. Like, 'cause I never really was like into like Juice WRLD. He's too much like sad boy.
Yeah.
So like the depressed stuff.
No, I'm the same. He wasn't my favorite, no disrespect or anything, but I'm more about the hustle music and
Yeah,
getting
when
the
I was
money.
listening to your music, you were talking about getting the bag and getting the money, and I like that. That's the kind of stuff I resonate with because I'm always trying to like level up my bank accounts as well as my career.
Absolutely.
So this is something I take you're gonna do full time at some point, or do you already do it at full time?
I do it whenever I get the chance. I'm taking it a lot more seriously right now. So I'm really trying to just tap in and just drop consistently. This year, I think I dropped 4 projects, a video, like 2 singles. So there's a lot of stuff out there, more right now than ever, really.
That's good. The more consistent you are, the less they'll forget about you. Because I'm living on the internet nowadays. 1 week is basically like a year.
Yeah, it's easy to be that one hit sensation or fall off, as they say.
Yeah.
And I don't really try to adhere to the internet stuff as much. I try to really just create my own platform as best as I can. That's kind of how I've always been. I just wanted to make a fresh slate,
Right.
and help other people come up.
Right. That makes sense. When you're growing as a music engineer or a producer or a rap artist, are you going to stay independent? Are you trying to work with a label, or are you trying to be in the industry at all, or not play that game?
The ultimate goal is to be independent, because 360 deals and all that is kind of become, I feel like, basic knowledge to a lot of people, which, if for those of you who don't know, it's basically you sign and all the money you make pretty much goes back to your label.
Well, the label's like a bank.
Exactly.
Essentially, because they're the ones. Because most of the time, artists only make money off of their merch unless they're a big name. Then they make money off of their tours.
Exactly.
Most of the money comes from merch, and then most of the money always gets fronted by the label, which is essentially a bank. So it makes sense, because there's a few good independent artists out there. Like, I like Russ.
Yeah, he has some good music.
I like him.
I like what he speaks about too. He's very open about the industry, about
Super open.
about being an independent artist. I think he's one of the most successful ones.
Right.
Over the
Yeah,
years.
because he's always talking about, like, I don't want to be in the industry, which is good. You know, that's cool. He made a name for himself independently.
Exactly.
And a lot of people can't really do that.
No, they can't. I love the organic growth more than anything. I always prefer the smaller venues, and I've been through stadium shows and had my moments where I was like, it would be really cool to perform in a stadium, all these people.
Right.
But
he sells out stadiums, and he's independent. He played in Egypt and was like sold out.
in Egypt is crazy.
Yeah,
cool.
it was like by the pyramids.
Yeah, like I think so big. I'm like, dude, turn the pyramid into like a venue. We'll go in the pyramid.
No, it's cool. You have to
upset the spirits, you know?
You have to think big. If you don't think big, you're just gonna not progress in anything.
Exactly.
Because you have to carry yourself as the best producer, best rapper. Like Drake always says he's the best, just because people don't think he's the best. If he thinks he's the best, that's cool. Statistics show, but at the end of the day, if you always think you're the best, every rapper says they're the best. If they think they're the best, then that's cool. I like that. I like when rappers say I'm the best. They're like with basketball players. LeBron thinks he's the best.
Yeah, it's a very ego-filled thing. I stray away from the mentality of rap as a competitive sport, and
Right.
for me, it's more of an art form.
Right, it's an
And
expression. At one
exactly.
point, it was a form of expression. Nowadays, it's boom, snaps, and claps.
Right, they're bringing it back, and I think generally the most popular rap nowadays is a lot of drill and kind of just beef rap.
Right.
So it just makes sense to be heading back toward that kind of battle rap stuff.
I like that kind of stuff. Back when Tupac and Biggie were going at it, they're gangster, bro.
Yeah, that was definitely a more iconic battle that was going on.
Yeah, because nowadays nobody says anything about hurting each other or like killing each other. They just say, "Oh, like that's not a diss, bro."
Right. The Kendrick one is ridiculous right now.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like too much. It's what happened to. I don't know. I like that violence solves everything. Violence solves everything, I think.
Yeah, and like if you're not capable of violence, then you're not peaceful, because if you can't even be violent, then it's not a choice. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like it definitely does solve a lot of problems. Like if you're really mad, but you're not mad enough to box about it. So
Right.
are you really mad?
Yeah, that's how it was back then. You couldn't say anything without getting beat up.
Exactly.
So now everybody just says stuff.
Yeah, man, I grew up in that time, you know, getting shoved in lockers and close the locker and beating me up in the bathroom, all this stuff, and we fight after school. Now you just get in trouble like instantaneously. It's
Yeah,
crazy,
people call
man.
the cops and stuff.
Yeah, it just feels weird, honestly.
Where did you grow up?
I was born in Europe. I moved
For real?
out here. Yeah, I moved in
Sick.
here when. Thanks, man. And I moved out here when I was very young, like 3 years old.
What part of Europe?
And the Balkans, Serbia.
Oh,
It's
that's tight.
Yeah, it's like right around Greece. A lot
Right,
of people
no, I know
don't
where
know
that's
about
at.
it. A lot
Yeah.
of people confuse it, you know, for the viewers. They confuse it with Siberia or like, you know, but it's its own thing.
This is its own
so,
country,
yeah.
right? So
Um,
you moved here when you were like 3 with your parents? Or?
Yeah, with my parents, we came here. We moved in with my aunt in Hoffman Estates, which is Chicago suburbs. And then eventually moved to Mount Prospect, Des Plaines, and I pretty much grew up in Arlington Heights.
So you've always been in Chicago or the suburbs of Chicago?
Always Chicago suburbs, yeah.
And you've never lived anywhere else?
Not in the United States, no.
No. So you went to school out here, high school?
Pretty
did you-
much.
Yeah, you graduated high school?
Yeah, I did. I was a super senior for a little bit, but
No, hey, that's cool.
yeah, but it's like I dropped out. That's why. And then I came back and I just got like a 4.0 GPA, so it's just whatever.
That's so crazy. I graduated with a 1.6.
I didn't even like high school, you know what I mean?
And when was it that you started making music and producing? You were how old?
I think officially I was probably like 14.
Oh, so
when
you
I
were in high
first started.
school when all this happened?
Yeah, like a freshman in high school or 8th grade.
And what was it that got you into it? Like, what inspired you to want to take it to this level?
I was always in music. I always wanted to be like a rock star when I was growing up, like when I was a kid and
Guitars.
stuff. Yeah, like
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
liked like Linkin. When I came to America, I discovered Linkin Park.
Aren't they
and
from here?
Red,
Aren't they from Wisconsin? Or some? Wait, where are they from?
They just
mean to
might
interrupt
be.
you.
I
They're-
don't
they're
even
from
know.
over
No,
here.
you're good. I know a lot of bands come from out here, but like some hardcore bands like not Emure. I forgot the name. Like
I like Amir.
Enemies or something, or Born of Osiris. I know is from like Rolling Meadows, which is in the area.
Really?
Yeah.
Born of Osiris is from here?
Yeah, they're from Meadows.
that's
and,
cool.
Their
So-
bassist came into one of my jobs the other day. It was
That's so
random.
sick.
Yeah.
And then you just wanted to become a rock star because of all of them?
Yeah, well,
Because that was
wanted
around that
to-
time.
I always wanted to do music because when I was like 2 years old, they probably asked me what I wanted to be, and I was like, I want to be a conductor. You know what I'm saying? And I always wanted to do music. My mom and my grandma were music teachers and like private piano instructors and whatnot.
Oh, so you just always had a background in music growing up.
Yeah,
it
pretty
made
much a
you
lot of
wanna
music
chase
background.
it.
And that definitely played into it, for sure. And really just the stardom of it. Like, I just don't want to be a nobody, and I don't think I'm supposed to be one. So that's part of it, is just that kind of ambition and like mentality of I have to reach this point.
You have to.
Yeah.
What are some practices you do to keep yourself on track and consistent with putting out?
Right
Music.
now, I try to, as ideas come to my mind, I make sure to retain them and write it down. And most of the projects that I release are very much coordinated and put together projects. It's kind of been my style, like, for the longest time. I don't really drop a lot of singles. It's more so a couple tracks.
Compilations and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I try to just retain the idea and try to do something every day. I try to make a beat every day. I used to be trying to record every day. Now I try to get in here whenever I can, usually once or twice a month. But the process never stops. I think it's just exposure and getting it to the right people. That's the next step for me right now.
What would you say your biggest limitation is today?
Limitation, I would say...
Like something that inhibits your ability to create or post or get out there. What inhibits or hinders the ability?
Currently, I would say what hinders the ability would be really just just real life, dealing with a lot of real life experiences and going through that. You don't have a lot of time always, and you know it's a necessity, and time is money. So it takes, you know, dedication for sure, to, regardless of everything, to still make time for the craft and the music.
Right. Makes sense. Yeah, I've tried to kind of distinguish personal life and what I'm doing. So I'm a little bit more on the harsher side of things, where like if some existential crisis happened to me, I would kind of just focus on what I'm doing instead of, you know, go back and dwell on something that's out of my control. That's just me though. Everybody's different.
Right,
You
and
know?
it plays into it, because you can use that as motivation
You
to
can.
pursue what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas use it as fuel, whatever you might be going through, just use it as fuel to,
Get out of the situation, whatever it may be.
yeah, to do whatever you need to do. You know, if you actually feel good about yourself when you actually do something that you want to do.
Right.
It makes sense. You know?
Right. Yeah. So that's how I am whenever it comes to some type of crisis that's going on. I try to just focus on my path and remember, like, this is what's going to get me. I feel like anything I do could be holding me back. That's not productive. And that's the way I look at things. Even though I would like to see my mom as much as I can, but some days I'm just like, Mom, I have to edit. Like,
Right.
you know, I have to, even if she's sick, I still have to like grind, because if something were to happen, she would still want me to grind. So I kind of, it's a little different for me. I've never had anything crazy happen to me, God forbid, you know, like, thanks to God. But
Yeah,
or
that's
whatever.
good. No, for sure.
Yeah.
It's not even or whatever. That's real.
no,
But-
I was just trying to, I didn't mean like whatever
But-
as in that. I meant like as in like whatever, like as a whole.
No, you're good. But yeah, family is like definitely is important, you know. And like some people say, it is what you make it. But that is true to an extent. But you know, if you're lucky enough to have that nuclear family, that, you know, both your
Which is rare nowadays.
Yeah, the parents together, everything, you know, it's a blessing. So you definitely need to set aside that time for that. And it's complicated at times too, where you feel like you have a double life, because they don't really know like what kind of activities I'm on, you know. So it's
Right.
like, and then I have to go there, I'll clean, like I have a drawer dedicated to shit I can wear, you know, under there. So it's like I'm not even trying to do that anymore. Like they're gonna see. If they don't see now, they're going to see. You know?
Right.
So
What do they think about your music career that you're trying to chase? That you are chasing, not trying. We don't try.
I think they're supportive in what ways they can really be. I don't think they care to really listen to it that much. They don't like
Usually.
profanity and, you know.
Right.
And I don't think they don't think that it's realistic to follow. But that's, people always tell you you're so crazy for doing this and that, and it's like, well, when it actually happens, then you look crazy. So
Right.
good luck, you know.
Yeah, I don't like that word, good luck, because nothing ever happened to me from luck.
Right. I have bad luck as well. So
Yeah, I try not
understand
to like use that word at all.
the omens, you know.
So with your parents, they're more of like old school, get a job, 9 to 5, go to school. Is that how you were raised?
Yeah, well, it's first generation immigrant lifestyle. So they didn't know anything about America, and
Oh yeah, because you're from Europe.
yeah, absolutely. And they grew up in a town that's like population of like 500 people or something, and everyone who lives there is the same as them. It's not a melting pot. They speak the same language. There's not different cultures and this and that. So really, you know, and a lot of my aesthetic nowadays is just doing what they didn't allow me to do when I was a kid, which is totally fine with me.
Right. No, that makes sense, because that's how my dad was. I don't even like calling him that, but he was always like, go to school, go to work, you're gonna have to, like, bro, no, shut up.
Right, like
That's how I am.
it just doesn't feel natural to me, just doing
Right.
that regular stuff. Like I feel like I kind of have to do something else.
So you've always been rebellious as a kid?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Always
yeah.
wanted to do your own thing?
Yeah.
No, that's
I
cool.
hated school from the day one.
I didn't like school either, but I have a degree. I have background in film. I went to like film school and stuff.
Hell yeah.
Do you have
that's good.
what do you do to learn your music theory?
I'm pretty much like entirely self-taught. Other than I was in like band in middle school, you know, like dorky stuff.
So do you
But-
understand music theory?
Yeah, like I know I don't know like all the scales in the back of my head or whatnot, but I know with scales, time signature, BPM, tempo,
All the fundamentals.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
ground, the foundation.
Yeah, for sure. I
How
know
important?
a thing or two about it.
How important do you think it is to know music theory?
I don't think that it's necessary in this day and age because of all of the technology, but I think that definitely having it in your back pocket it can help you understand, certain scenarios when you're in the studio or actually with somebody who really does do everything based on that. Then you know what's going on rather than being like, I'm confused as hell right now.
Right. Yeah, because, I mean, you can learn everything on YouTube.
Yeah, the knowledge is pretty much out there. It's free.
Yeah, I always try to tell people to stay away from YouTube for, like, filming and stuff. I don't know. I just feel like you don't learn as much on YouTube because obviously they're just doing it for the views. And they're gatekeeping certain things, which is cool. I gatekeep and I advocate for gatekeeping.
Hell yeah.
You know? I don't want to tell anybody the secrets.
Yeah, I'm gatekeeping all 2025.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. Have you, like, so with the techniques that you've learned, everything has just been, like, self-taught. You make your own beats from scratch. You don't use loops.
Sometimes
you lose
I
loops?
sample. I'll sample a melody. I'd switch it up. I chop it up. But that's like the extent of loops because, like I said, I like playing my notes. And to
Like
that
with the
comes,
keyboard?
yeah, and even the drum pad for the drums, and to that really comes like raw, like doing it from scratch.
So do you know all your keys, like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then, like...
Not necessarily. Like if you put a keyboard in front of me, I might be able to tell you like which key is C. But for me, it's more so just knowing what notes make what sound. It's kind of just, I don't know. My brain always worked weird and differently like that. So I just realized like I just can't do things normally.
Right. No, that makes sense. I mean, everybody has their own method to their madness.
Right.
So with you, it's all self-taught, which is cool. You don't need school or a background because there's directors that have not gone to school. Lil Wayne went to school.
Yeah, I think 2 Chainz got like rocket science or something. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, and Lil Dicky went to school for something else and he became a rapper. So it's like you don't need a background. You could, as long as these people like your stuff, is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, for me, I'm really just self-validated with it. It just feels like I have an idea in my head. I need to create it in reality. Otherwise, it's just a waste. And it's like, I feel that I'm pretty confident in my craft and it's genuine. Like I'm not pretending. So
Right.
if I put it out there and it gets to the right people, I think that it could make a splash or whatever you want to call it.
How do you go about criticism, constructive criticism from collaborators or maybe your peers?
For me, I guess the first wall would be just recognizing if it's genuine or with an ulterior motive, because some people will give you bad criticism just because they're like jealous or they don't want to see you win, whatever. But if I can tell, if I accept criticism from the people whose opinion matters. So to me, it's like, I'm not going to take criticism from you if I don't care about your opinion.
Right.
Because it's just exclusive like that, really.
I like that. Yeah, because you're not going to take advice from someone with a life you don't want to live.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that does go hand in hand with that. I like that. What's the best piece of advice you've gotten or the best piece of criticism you've gotten?
The best piece of criticism that I have gotten would probably have to be to not overthink. That is definitely really important, because if you start to overthink it, it just doesn't, it takes away from the fun of it. If you don't enjoy it anymore, then it becomes a lot more difficult, obviously. So
Right.
just not overthinking it and doing what's natural is really important.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Speaking of when you were talking about, we're going back to when you were talking about everybody in the music is not a competition to you. So who are some artists or producers you would like to work with?
Some producers that I really have thought about working with is Icy Twat.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, Icy Twat. I really like Dev Stacks.
Never heard of him. Are these artists?
It's not many. They're rappers and producers.
Oh, the rappers and producers.
Yeah, Pierre Airborne.
Never heard of them.
That's probably the biggest one on my list. But he produced Magnolia by Playboi Carti.
Oh,
if you know
okay.
that song, yeah.
I remember that song. Yeah, I've heard it. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but
it's not a lot that I want to work with. And if I do work with artists, I want to work with like some like metal bands and new, like I want to do like a song with Limp Bizkit or something.
Fred Durst.
Yeah.
That's cool. Limp Bizkit came on the other day, and I was like, man, this is cool. They're old school.
Yeah, it's really a different time, man. It's from that just like hard body time where right now it's just soft everything.
Right.
You know?
So that's how you would say the music has evolved from back then to now. So as far as you can remember, what was the first song you ever heard?
Damn, that's probably some Serbian shit, but I don't even know.
I know it's real broad,
but
what was like the first memory of music that you heard?
Fuck, man. Probably my grandma singing. She wrote her own songs, and this is kind of lame, but she would always sing and play the piano, and I remember some of her songs, really. So if we're talking about music, like, that's music, you know, so.
No, it's music. Music is anything with a melody.
Exactly,
Well, it's a ballad, a poem with words, or a poem with, like, a beat. Or
exactly.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's so cool. Thinking way back, I mean, because music is so precious, and I don't know if you know, but whenever you listen to a song, if you forget about that song, the next time you hear it, whether it be 10, 20, 30 years later, it'll take you back to when you first heard it.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Just the way that, like, the human mind works, it's crazy.
Yeah, like, because with people with dementia, if they hear a song, you could, like, play music for them. It's, like, soothing for them.
Yeah.
And even though they have dementia, if you played a certain song that they really liked, it'll take them back to that memory. It's crazy.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's cool. I love music. Music is such a, like, inspired. Music inspires.
It's so important, because even when I'm if I don't have it on for like a little bit of time, I just feel off. I'm like, something is missing, and then I just have to have music on in the background.
Yeah, I'll be driving for hours, and it'll be like silent. Sometimes it'd be like that though.
Yeah,
I don't mind silence.
Sometimes I'll have those silent drives too, where it's like I'm decompressing or something, like I'm figuring something out up there, but
Plotting.
Yeah, but then on the drive home, I blast the music, so it's all good.
No, I feel that. Where do you normally post all your stuff?
Right now, it's been exclusively on SoundCloud because it's been convenient, and that's where I kind of started. But obviously, formerly known as Cunning Spirit, God Shakespeare. I'm planning on going onto all platforms once I fully am rebranded, and we're going to be on all platforms pretty soon.
That's cool. I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I liked some of the stuff that I was hearing. Obviously, I'm not going to like everything.
Right.
But there was some stuff that I was like, yo, this is sick. You said a lyric, something about the Dark Magician, and all I could think of was Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in the day. And I was like, dude, that's so sick. Because I don't think anybody's ever said anything like that.
A lot of that. I grew up with the Saturday morning cartoons and all that. So
you used to watch Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah, I played it, everything. And it's...
Go ahead.
No, sorry.
No, go ahead.
But yeah, definitely grew up playing Yu-Gi-Oh, watching it, all that good stuff, and that's why I kind of implement that stuff in there. But also on like the Dark Magician kind of witchcraft kind of level, yeah, like I know about all that. So I'm like, I could put those two things together because I'm big on doing, text to world, all those connections that you make,
Right. No, that's cool. What I was gonna ask at it when I almost interrupted you was, do you think all the childhood experiences are aiding in your music creation today?
Most definitely.
What would you say is the most memorable thing that sparks your interest? Do you think about your childhood when you're in the studio or in the booth or when you're making beats?
I think about it kind of all the time subconsciously because it wasn't like horrible, but it wasn't perfect. It was a little bit harder. And definitely just all the bullying and taking all that into account is I want to show these people that I'm not a nobody, that I'm not.
Why would they bully you? What did you do? Just existed?
It just so happened to, it was just rumors, you know. A lot of people spread rumors, and back in the day, it was a big thing, man. And obviously, like
Bullying was more common back then.
it was. Now it's like kind of unacceptable in a way.
Yeah, I think bullying is okay to an extent. I don't think you should beat people up.
Right.
But then we did say that would be contradicting because we did say earlier violence solves everything. You know, like if you're violent, think about all the wars. When all the wars happen, whoever wins is the one who is right.
Exactly.
So it's kind of contradicting for me to say like.
I mean, it's the nature of humanity. They've always been slaughtering each other like freaking pigs. You know?
So like when you were getting bullied as a kid, was it just random or did you do something to provoke it?
It wasn't random.
Were
I
you a
definitely
bully?
wasn't. No, I was. I'm more a bully now than because they say the bully turns into a bully. You know.
Yeah.
So, but what do you call it? I wasn't like so weird, man. Like I was with the weird kids, but I was always the one that's like, why am I with these weird crackheads? Like I want to hang out with these cool guys, you know? So because they were doing crazy shit like smashing ketchup packets and shit, and I'm like, bro, this is weird as hell. I was like, let me get out of here. So eventually I shifted more over toward like the cool crowd, whatever you want to call them, which was basically just doing drugs and drinking. So
Yeah, because back then that was cool. It was cool to smoke. It was cool to drink.
yeah,
You did it to impress your friends, and I think that was cool back then. I used to smoke, and the best part of it was eluding from like my parents to like not get caught.
absolutely. But as far as my recollection goes, like I didn't do anything in particular to make me
deserve
bully. Yeah, I was like, why is it me? Like, what the fuck? What am I doing? You know?
So you
And it
wouldn't get
just so
like beat
happened,
up.
like, I did a couple times. Yeah, I got in fights.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I remember this one guy was like, dude, he wouldn't stop messing with me, and I was like, dude, do you want to go? And he was like, yeah, meet me in the bathroom. I was like, nah, we going in the hall where everyone could see. And he was like, he kept trying to like meet me in the bathroom. Eventually one day I just walked past him in the hallway, pushed him into the locker, and we just started going in the hallway.
In high school?
It's like middle school, bro.
Middle school?
Yeah, like 7th grade or some shit.
And by
It's
then you were
crazy.
would you consider yourself a troubled kid that has reshaped his life, or?
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I definitely was troubled. I definitely, you know, it was a hard home life, really, like with the immigration, and it makes it difficult.
Are your parents still here?
Yeah, they're here. Yeah,
But they never got like sent back or anything?
No, they're chilling. Yeah.
Yo, I couldn't imagine being like in a family that would be like deported. You know, that's crazy.
That is a tragedy, and I don't think it should happen to anybody.
Yo, it's just, it's
About
kind
these
of a
cheap ass gloves they're breaking. It's fine.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, no, it's definitely a tragedy when stuff like that happens. Like, I'm a U.S. citizen, so I've never really had to deal with any of that, and like all my first, second, third generation are all U.S. citizens, so I never had to deal with that. I am Spanish. My other parts of my family are Spanish too, so it's like I never
Hell yeah.
deal with that kind of stuff. That's crazy. So
Yeah, man.
were you always worried about getting sent back?
No, it's never something that really crossed my mind because they did get their citizenship. They did what they had to do. So we all had green cards. And I have like a dual citizenship, which is crazy because last year I went back for summer. And they made me enlist in the military because it's against the law.
Yo.
Yeah, so I was visiting, you know, for 2 weeks, and they're like, oh, my grandpa's like, okay, you go to the embassy and enlist. I'm like, what?
And you
He's
had
like,
to?
yeah, he's like, yeah, if you don't, the mafia will come. I'm like, bro, that's kind of crazy, but okay.
That's insane.
If I gotta go to war in a former Soviet Union subsidiary, like, fuck it, let's go.
Right.
You know?
Yo, that's so funny. We're gonna take it back to music because I wanted to dive back into like your life a little bit.
For sure, man.
So how do you maintain? So you say you have a job, right? You have to fund this. How do you fund this?
Yeah, currently I just work.
You just have a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
It's usually how it is until you break off.
Yeah,
So,
and it's not, you know, I'm not ashamed about it.
no, not at all. You shouldn't be.
at whatever field you put me in, I've always managed to boss up and move up in whatever company it may be. Which I guess it's just a character trait. It comes naturally to some people.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, I always try to put myself in the best possible position wherever I'm at, because
Right.
it's when I have a job, I view it as a source of income, source of funding for my career. A lot of people, they sell drugs or whatever.
Me.
Whatever, you
Not
know?
anymore. Not anymore. Before they come after me. But I feel you. Keep
Yeah.
going.
or they they got bodies, whatever you want to do, and no disrespect. You get thrown into a certain situation, you can't help it, but
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. And I don't really look down on anybody that has to make ends meet.
absolutely.
Because if someone, let's say you, for an example, if you were some trap lord, some big time dealer to support what you wanted to use to escape and get out and do something not illegal, I still respect it. Whether or not
Of
you're
course.
selling drugs, whatever you do to get money, there's too many ways to get money. So there's no excuse.
There's too many ways.
There's too many ways to get money. So you have a 9 to 5, which is cool. Because eventually, I assume, I don't like to assume, but eventually, from talking earlier, you said you wanted to make your music full time. So eventually, you're going to end up quitting and then doing this full force.
Absolutely, and
That's the dream.
I'm already shifting toward that right now as we speak. Starting to make bigger investments and take bigger risks, and I have high hopes for the art. It only keeps evolving. Every time I release, it gets better quality, better.
That's how it should be.
Yeah.
That's how it should be. Every
So-
time you make something, it should supersede the previous.
Absolutely.
In any way, shape, or form. It could have been some type of clipping. It could have been a beat per minute. One could have been slower than the other. The track sound, decibel level. There's so many factors that go into creating a piece of art.
There are a lot, and a lot of people now. This rapper Laser 700 Dim is his name.
Yeah.
He speedrun the underground, they say, because his music sounds like it was recorded on BandLab, and he has millions of views.
Some
So,
people use BandLab.
Yeah, but
Law and Order went platinum
It's
off
really
of BandLab.
that's fire.
That's cool. I think
Yeah.
it's cool.
But I mean, I'm not hating on it, but it just I guess it's just more the entity that you are nowadays than
Right.
your actual if you bring the vibe, people will gravitate toward it.
Right. How do you manage your work schedule and creating your dream? Because what I see a lot of people and what the issues that I deal with all the time is people will talk to me about starting a career or even just starting out learning about film in my realm. And when it's time to do the work outside of their 9 to 5, oh, I'm tired, I'm this, I'm that, I got work in the morning. But at the same time, you have to work. You have to sacrifice what you want, or what you want becomes a sacrifice. So with you, how do you manage your time from your work life to your dream?
Man, it hits home really you said that, because I don't even really play video games or watch any
Rightfully so.
watch shows that I like anymore, because it's I work long hours and I have a inconsistent schedule, which is pretty annoying, but beside the point. Some days I'm falling asleep on the car ride home, barely keeping my eyes open. Damn near fell asleep at a red light the other day, and I get home and I'm like, all right, I gotta do this. At the end of the day, not to boost myself.
No, boost yourself, bro.
But at the end of the day,
Boost it.
I'll try to stay humble,
No,
But
don't
at
be
the end
humble.
of the day,
Not on here. You don't be humble on here, bro.
fuck, bitch, I'm the shit. No,
No,
but at
for
the end
real.
of the day, I fucking I get home tired as shit, and I just kind of maybe I'll lay down for 2-3 minutes, and then I'm like, all right, now I gotta go back to that other life. I gotta pursue what is gonna make it so that I'm not exhausted all the time. And if I'm still exhausted when I'm doing this, at least I'm happy.
Right. That's what I always tell people too. And I like that you said that, because when I'm at the end of my day, or when I'm at the end of a million edits, because I shoot all the time and a lot of people like short form, so it's a lot more easy on my workload. But when I do other stuff like the cars or like music videos, well, I hardly do music videos. Rappers don't like to pay, which is cool. I get it, but I try to stay away from them. But so like with my car stuff, it's longer. Whenever I do those, and I'm like, dang, I'm extremely tired. Or when I'm traveling across the country, around the country, I'm so exhausted. But at the end of the day, I remember why I do it because I love it.
Absolutely.
And it separates the dread, you know, because I don't like to be dreadful. I'm not dreadful of anything. So long hours, hustling, you're the shit. What else?
That's honestly respectable to not be dreadful of anything, because that's dread. Existential dread has become somewhat of a normalized thing within the communities of the internet. And a lot of people are just like, oh, yeah, I have so much existential dread. And it's like, but why, though?
See,
you're only here for a time, you know?
Right. And that goes back to having, and I've never been in certain situations. I can't really, of course, people are going to be like, oh, well, it's easy for you to say you've never been through it. But at the same time, I've been and seen certain things throughout my life where I'm like, these guys have it worse. These guys have it worse than the people that are thinking they have it worse. And then there's these people that have it worse than everybody. You know, there's always someone that's going to be going through more.
Yeah, there's levels to this shit.
There's levels. So I always try to put myself in that position where if I have something that I'm pissed about or something that I'm dwelling on, I try to be like comparing it to my life now where it's like, okay, why am I? There's so many things that could be going. I have a roof over my head, clothes on my back, food on my table.
Right.
What more can I ask for? That's all I need right now.
Yeah, and I always give thanks for just the basics, you know. It's important.
Yeah, that's the basic necessities is your clothes on your back, roof over your head, food on your table. That's it.
Right.
And then everything else just like comes together.
I like to think, sometimes I pursue the struggle. Like, I'm like, what if I just lived in my car for a few months, then I recorded in my car with a laptop? Like, would that add to the, you know, to the art?
That would be cool.
Yeah.
There's days where I always think of getting rid of my bed and going to like a twin bed or just a mattress because it'll help me have more space. I want to, even though I'm not broke, I still kind of act like it because I kind of want to not forget, you know, like I want to just progress and remember like this is what sucked. I don't want to be like this anymore. So let's just remember.
Absolutely. That's the mindset I always kind of have. Is like, I have like a couple grand and I'll be like, why am I so broke?
Mm-hmm.
I said out loud the other day, and like one of my associates was like, you're broke? Like, well, no, it's a mindset that I always keep because, first of all, you never know if you're just going to lose all your money.
Right.
But
I'll spend all my money though.
Yeah, and you got to spend it because it doesn't come with you to the grave, you know?
Right. And I don't save money at all. I everything I make goes back into this, no matter what it is, even if I have to run my accounts dry. So when you're investing into your craft, would you say the same, or are you kind of frugal about it? Do you put everything into it? I know you have bills. Aside from the bills, I'm talking like bills are paid. Everything that you need is paid and separate. I'm talking like any extra money. Do you put it into?
I try to be very financially responsible, so I have like a spreadsheet. I pray.
That's so cool.
I keep track of my. I'm a freaking dork, man. But
no, that's cool.
I keep track of everything, and I know like this is how much I take into account. How much am I going to spend this month on my music? And it plays out for me in that way. But I'm starting to.
I'm not trying to check your pockets.
No,
I'm just, yeah, okay.
I'm starting to lean more toward, well, yeah, because like rappers got to be ballin' and rich, whatever, man, you know. But I started leaning more toward spending more into the music and really putting more into it, physically, mentally, financially, everything. Because
you have to, right?
Yeah, especially, and with this rebrand, that's really what I'm pushing and aiming for. And this is a good way to start for sure.
I like that. Now, I thought I had a question. I always forget it because I was making sure everything's recording. So it was along the lines of investing into it. I'm trying to think. I'll come back to it. What do you do outside of music? Do you have any hobbies?
I do skateboarding. I talked about video games a little bit. I like fighting games, probably the best.
Violent games are so fun.
Fighting, yeah, like Tekken and
Old school.
Yeah. I like them because, you know, I like sparring it like in real life and stuff, so it kind of translates over, you know. But reading,
I like
really,
reading.
I'm writing a science fiction book right now.
That's cool.
But yeah, I'm not an author. I'm not a writer. I'm a musician.
And a comedian.
Yeah, and a comedian by default. But, you know, it is what it is, man. Yeah, just nerdy stuff, really. Basically nerdy stuff, nostalgia. That pretty much.
Do you play
sums it up
chess?
as- Yeah, I love chess.
Really? What's your elo?
What does that mean?
Oh my gosh.
I don't
I love
know
chess. I'm an avid chess player.
I'm not like a chess connoisseur, but I play.
I am. I was just wondering because you said nerd, and I get called nerd for playing
We're
chess.
gonna play. That's ridiculous,
I don't care, bro. I'll smoke anybody. Well, not anybody, but that's just my ego talking.
bro. That's like a insult. Like, don't call me a nerd, bro.
I like being called a nerd. I think it's cool. Why don't you like being
It's
called a nerd?
Yin and yang, you know.
I like being called a nerd, bro, because then people underestimate me, and then they.
Because why do I hate being called a nerd? Honestly, bro, because like I'm a baller.
You're. But still, like, I like being called a nerd. I don't mind it. That's so crazy. That's funny.
Yeah, right. But
Oh my gosh. Hold on. I'm gonna. I had that question in my head. I'm gonna look at my phone.
being
real
too
quick.
funny. Let me tone it down.
No, I
a
like
bit.
it. I like it. I like
I'm
it.
supposed to be dark and mysterious.
Alluring.
Yeah.
Let's see. What kind of lessons have you learned throughout your endeavors with music production?
I've learned there's a lot of fake motherfuckers. They don't care about your shit.
No friends in the industry.
Yeah,
Well, nobody respects what
And-
isn't theirs.
for sure. And it's not fair, but
Life ain't fair.
it's not. And I've learned a lot, man. I've learned, you know, really how to just stay in your own lane was the main thing that I learned, because a lot of times it's easy to get put astray from what you're doing and distracted from different opportunities or people who are trying to work with you. And you never know who you're dealing with, man. So, but as far, you know, from working with so many different artists that I've been blessed to work with, I've learned different styles. They've pushed me to expand my sound, different
Colleagues,
Yeah.
basically.
pretty much, and different DAWs and music terminology like we were talking about. So I've definitely learned a lot. I think
Mhm.
the highlight of it though would be just don't really put your trust in the wrong people.
Right. I don't trust anyone. So, I mean, I could snap. You could snap. People in here could snap. You know, like, you never know.
You never know.
You never know. So I always try to stay on my guard, and I'm super perspicacious of my surroundings.
I love that word, perspicacious.
I love it. Yeah, it's a word I use it from time to time. I read the dictionary every morning.
Hell yeah.
No, for real. And I'm super aware of my surroundings. Perspicacity is definitely something people lack, because you never know what's going to happen, because I know what's behind me. I know what's around me. I watch people's behaviors, you know?
Yeah.
I've been in situations where if I didn't notice, I probably would have got robbed or killed, and my friends didn't notice, and I was the only one that did, and I had to pull them aside. And here in Chicago too, bro. Chicago is sketchy.
It is sketchy, but it's the only city where I want to be, and
I
don't
love
wanna,
Chicago. It's so
I
beautiful.
literally don't. I feel weird leaving this state and city, but unless it's Europe, I fuck with Europe.
I fuck with you,
But
actually.
the problem, you know, with, you know, being aware of your surroundings, I've definitely been in a lot of situations where I was just straight up lucky that nothing happened to me, because I was putting myself in these scenarios with these weird people that I don't know, and I just got lucky.
Yeah, see, even if I go anywhere like a restaurant, I demand to sit in the corner. I want to watch the room. I got to make sure I know what is going on wherever I'm at, to make sure I'm safe and the people around me are safe. Because I'm always, like, I play chess, so I'm always 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moves ahead of anybody else.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
It's an important mentality that I think this is really what I connected to, is a lot of people wanna be in the big seat, but they don't even take that into consideration.
Having a big power, it's Spider-Man. I know I can learn it from Spider-Man, but with great power does come great responsibility. The more
Right.
power you have, the more responsibility you're going to have. And if you don't know how to handle that responsibility, you're doomed.
You are doomed.
Really?
Like, the king always sit in the back of the hall, you know what I mean? So it's not like he's not in the middle. So
No.
it's been since the beginning of time. If you're the big figure, you gotta watch your back, you know. And it's
Right.
it always be your own people too,
Every time your friend will kill you before an enemy will,
for real.
and it's such facts.
But that's why we don't have friends around here. We
No.
just we create brotherhood, you know.
Yeah, I like that. That's what I like. I call my friends my family
Right.
because they're so close to me, and I could count all the people I know that know things that other people would never know. You know, on my hand.
Yeah, of course.
I like to keep it private. Going back to your music, I remember the question now. It was music videos. What do you do for music videos? Do you have any out? How many do you have?
Right now, I would say officially I only have one. It's for 2 songs, Charles Mitsurugi. It was filmed in Serbia, in the capital and my hometown.
That's
And
cool.
Thanks.
That's really cool.
Thank you.
I'll have to check it out.
I have a clip on my Instagram, but yeah, when we landed in the capital. So I said, let's film a video here at night, and then we'll film the other one in the hometown during the day, and it will progress like a story. And that one actually was filmed on my phone, and
Cool.
I sent the clips to my editor, Frozen Image Productions, and she just edited it, and she always does a really good job really putting it to the image that I'm thinking about. And I don't even have to describe it, which is really, really great, just having that chemistry with people.
Right. Good relationships are everlasting. You know
They
what
really
I mean?
are,
Yeah,
because
you know what I
it's
mean?
rare nowadays.
Yeah, it's rare. I was just talking about that last night. Like, you don't know who is a good person at all anymore. You can't tell.
It's hard to tell. And I have, even me believing that I have a sixth sense kind of about, my intuition always tells me if something is weird about someone. Usually I'm right, but a lot of times,
intuition is real.
yeah, and a lot of
Intuition
times
is real. Well, we're animals. We're mammals, so we have instinct.
we have the gut feeling. Yeah,
We have the instinct.
a lot of times I didn't listen to it for whatever reason, that point in life.
And everything bad happens. Whenever your
Yeah,
gut is telling you, or whenever you feel that way, you should listen to it.
It gets to that point, and that's kind of another lesson I've learned. Even because of the music, you could say it could have happened, because a lot of these people I wouldn't have even mingled with if it weren't for that.
Right. No, that makes sense. So you have one music video out. Are you planning on creating any more?
Hell yeah. I got one right now in the pocket. Just needs to be scheduled. I'm trying to get some more people together, local artists that want to be extras, and just get kind of a movement going with the artists who I genuinely, legitimately like, because I think they have a lot of potential, but I don't see them taking it completely seriously. And I feel a responsibility almost to be that role model to help put them on the map.
Yeah, I like people who take things serious. I only work with serious people.
Right.
Because if someone's gonna film, for example, or music, for example, if you hang out with an artist or a film guy that only just parties and does stuff on their days off and just does things counterproductive, it's like, why do I need to be around that? To me.
Exactly. And it's important to differentiate like a waste of time from, especially when you're at such a beginning level in your career and you're already kind of far off, like you only have so much time. So
Right.
it's important to make sure that you're locked in and really
And your time is
focusing on
not
it.
wasted, because you said time is money. And a lot of people waste my time nowadays.
I hate that so much.
Yeah, I'm sure people waste your time too, because you have to find the right person that owns a studio, which this studio is amazing. I like the studio. And they seem like they're about it.
I mean, those are my friends, man, so I care about them as people dearly. Like, I wouldn't want anything to happen to them for the world. I would take a bullet for these guys.
Right.
And
That's cool.
And they have like such a beautiful space, and it's just crazy how it came to this point where we could just utilize it for your podcast, which I wouldn't have had it on any other show to start it off.
No,
man.
this is
That's
cool. I like
it's a
this
vibe,
space,
man.
so I do appreciate it.
Of course.
But it just goes back to people who are serious. He's letting us use it because he takes his craft serious.
Right, and it was like a shot in the dark too. I was like, this is gonna be a weird question.
Yes, I mean,
Never
even
done
then,
it before, you know.
yeah,
So,
and even then, you're taking it serious too by taking the next step, which is why I like to have people like you on here. That's
Yeah.
cool. I like that you're serious about it. I could tell that you're passionate, and I could tell you're serious just by like your demeanor, the way you carry yourself about your music. So I really like that. It's really admirable.
appreciate it.
Yeah, you could tell.
Yeah, it reminds me of another advice I got that you asked me, but I feel like my answer wasn't adequate. But the one that I'll give you now is much better. It's they said you're only as serious as you take yourself. You know what I mean?
I never
So
heard that.
You only
I like
are
that.
taken as seriously as you take yourself.
Right.
So if you don't take yourself seriously, people aren't going to take you serious.
Right. I've had some instances where I've had to tell people like, "Yo, chill out. I do this for real." Cuz
Tell 'em.
bro, I
Yeah,
do it. I'll
tell
be
'em.
the first to tell them. I'm pretty wild and when it comes to how I talk to people, bro. I have to be.
Yeah, especially selecting, picking and choosing the artists who I want. In the past, I've made my biggest collective had 15 artists, and it dismantled because they were really not as serious as I predicted. And I love the enthusiasm from people hitting me up because a lot of people don't even have that enthusiasm, or they're just living their life. They don't really want to do it. And I have some artists hitting me up right now who are very enthusiastic, and I want to make them part of the team, STG, whatever. But it just comes down to that really, the seriousness. Like, what is your mentality behind this? Do you just want your life to be more exciting, or are you really prepared to watch your back at all times and be on point?
Right. Yeah, you have to, because when you make the switch from doing it for the hype, the clout, to the passion, you start enveloping new opportunities. That's the way I've seen it. I've worked with a lot more people being passionate than just looking at it for the clout. Because I used to just be on Instagram for clout. I had a lot of followers.
Yeah, it's my favorite platform right now.
Instagram's
I don't
cool.
think there's nothing wrong with it, really.
I just don't do it for the clout anymore. I do it for the passion.
It's like the new, like, what's your gram is like, what's your phone number now, right?
What? Oh yeah,
It's like
yeah,
the new
like,
phone number.
yeah, I don't talk to people,
Instagram.
so
Or
but yeah,
Snapchat.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, dude, I
or-
hate Snapchat. Do you post on Snapchat?
Sometimes, for me, it's more like a day in the lifestyle. If I got something going on, I'll be like, "Yo, stay tuned. Here's what's happening."
Right.
So if you want to know like what's going on, just follow me on Snapchat. But other than that, really, just like ignoring girls and stuff.
That's funny. How do you think AI is evolving the music industry?
It's crazy as hell to me that there could even be. So I grew up on Ghost in the Shell and iRobot, and I love like sci-fi, Blade Runner. So I'm like, this is crazy that this is basically the reality we're in now.
Right.
But it's crazy that people are like underlooking it, like it's normalized. Like, are y'all not tweaking right now? This is crazy. They could make a whole song that sounds like an artist who's already there, just with AI, and it sounds
Yeah.
like so real.
It sounds, the delivery's off and the cadence is off, but it's like the actual vocals as a whole, it's almost identical.
Right. I was with the homie who's sitting right here, my manager too, and we were just messing around with AI. I think we were trying to put like some drill song with like a ridiculous artist, just mix it up. We were trying to make like Peter Griffin rapping some drill song or some
And it
BS.
worked?
Yeah, it's crazy. And my stance on like AI evolving music right now, I don't think it can take over anytime soon. But with the rate that it's evolving at, I can see it eventually taking over. Just not
think so?
anytime soon. Yeah, I think so, because if you convince enough people that something is normal, then the original normal eventually gets written
Right.
out of
That's
history.
like saying the sky is blue, and if you get enough, if people were to start saying the sky is orange, it would switch.
Right. So now they're like, "Oh, dude, you're like a person making music? That's weird." It's the robots do it,
Right. I've
It's
never
just
thought
a
of it
far
like that.
future,
So you think AI will evolve into that eventually?
I think eventually, like, people are gonna rely on artificial intelligence like so much that if you're poor and you can't afford it, then you're just fucked.
What does the top look like for you?
The top for me, it really just looks like just having freedom, stable. Like, if I want to make music now, I like blasting music and making trash can fires. So if I can fucking like shoot a RPG at a building, I'm at the top.
The Sears Tower?
That would be iconic. I'm not going to.
They're going to cancel me for that. They're going to be like, yo, he's a threat.
Nah. Hey, man, namaste, bro. I'm peaceful.
Yeah. Namaste. I love that. What kind of genre do you mostly fixate on? I don't know if fixate's the right word. What kind of genre do you like to make most of? Or do you even have a genre? Do you have a niche?
I don't
like niches.
No,
For me.
I like dark trap. I feel like niches are like cool because I like a lot of artists who are very niche. When I show them people, they're not excited, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? This is cool. But anyway, I think dark trap, like I don't want to compare it to nobody because I've been compared to people and I hate that shit. But very, very ominous, dark with a bounce to it. It's a good way to describe it.
Right, ominous, dark with a bounce. I like ominous.
Yeah,
that's
ominous.
a good word. Ominous, yeah.
Like a haunted house, you know?
Yeah, ominous is a good word.
Yeah.
Ominous is a good word. That's crazy. That's cool. I like it. What kind of goals do you have to set yourself up to quit your job?
To set myself up to quit my job, I most definitely need to get on all platforms and monetize my stuff. And the biggest goal is to get it to a point where I'm getting enough streams to where I can make that same amount of revenue as my job. And then make certain investments to where if something gets happened in the volatile music industry, that where I'm still getting my bag regardless.
So when it comes to the industry, you don't think it'll ever change from independent to in the industry?
I think it can if it makes sense. I haven't done too much research on it, but I just hear all these horror stories about artists signing for too little or just not, or selling their soul, you know, and it's not.
You think that's real?
I think it's metaphorical, but I think there's definitely witchcraft, yeah. But the whole selling your soul aspect of it could be metaphorical.
You think so?
To whereas now you owe
Could
all
be
this
real.
money, you can't really do anything. Like none of this life is yours. You have to pay back this label, you know. But it could be real, yeah. Like sometimes I feel like I don't have a soul. Like I had this psychic. She was doing a Reiki treatment. It's like chakras or whatever, you know. And she got to the heart and she like jumped out of her chair and she's like, your heart is black. You have none. I'm like, holy fuck, dude, that's crazy.
No, that's insane.
You know? Yeah, so I was like, that kind of makes sense a little bit, but at the same time, you know, like, yeah, I believe in the soul, all metaphysical and all that shit.
Are you happy?
No.
No?
No, that's
Why
why
not?
I'm drinking Douce right now. Because I'm not at where I want to be in life, and I feel like I'm destined for that shit, and it's meant to be, and I think that eventually it's going to hit that level.
I like that. See, I try to be happy all the time
Yeah,
because
it's a good vibe.
yeah, I like to be happy. Well, I wasn't obviously because I got asked one time if I was happy, and it kind of made me cry years ago. I was like, or something.
It's a kind of
It made me really well, it's one of those questions,
right. It could be a sensitive question.
And I
If
thought
it-
about my life, and I was like, no, and I started bawling. Yo, I
If in the
swear.
right place at the right time,
It's 'cause we were
a stranger
alone.
pats your back. Are you happy, bro? Who are you? Like, what?
Yeah, it was like some
crazy.
chick, and she was like, "Are you happy?" And she like called me by my real name, and I was like,
Damn, you didn't call me Bean. That's
"Well, I
crazy.
wasn't Bean at the time. Actually, I was.
What?
I was clean
what it
Bean at the
was.
time. But yeah, she
Yeah.
was just like, "Are you happy, truly?" And I was like, I started bawling,
It's
bro.
a deep fucking.
It's a deep
Dude.
question.
Do girls still ask you, like men, that stuff?
I don't know.
Dude, I don't know either.
Most men don't get flowers till they're dead anyway. I don't want flowers. Don't give me flowers.
Yeah, don't give me any flowers. Just like piss on my grave or something. Shit on.
Going back to your younger self I don't know how old you are now. You don't have to say it. But going back to like 16, 17, 18, what is one piece of advice you would give yourself?
16, 17, 18. I would tell myself, save your money, because
No, I'm just kidding. I'm
a
listening.
lot of times I had the mentality to save it up to get the bag, but for some reason, it just kind of ended up spending into life and whatnot, and it ended up not compiling, whereas it should have. And if I didn't fall through with that, I would have a bigger bag right now.
Right.
So that's the biggest piece of advice.
That's cool. Stick with it, though.
Yeah.
Stick with it. And before, I know we have to wrap up here because this is a studio session that we had to book, and this guy's extremely busy. And he's allowed, bro. I'm like super appreciative of him for allowing us. What's his name? Run It Back Ryan.
Run It Back Ryan, and he's
Ryan.
done a lot of production on my projects, and just basically like an executive producer, and my homeboys. So shout out Run It Back Ryan.
What do you to conclude today's episode? What do you have planned for the next? I know I don't like to say dates because it's always dependent on when I post. So to give kind of like a date where it's August, how do you see the rest of the year paying out for you? What's the next year look like for you?
The rest of the year, I have unreleased music. I'm going to shoot a music video for Nevermore Chapter 2 before the year ends. And we are looking to start a show. Not sure if that's going to carry on to more next year because we got to execute it properly, but those are some of the main things that we have coming.
And how often do you plan on dropping from now until?
I try to be consistent. I think the first STG tape is coming either in September or November.
And why STG?
STG, swear to God. Because I say that a lot. I say swear to God a lot. And it's also just kind of blasphemous. And I'm a rebel, and I just want something that sticks out. And it's more... The question for me is why Dimmy? Because I just want it to be more me and more personal.
Right. Well, I do have to conclude today's session. We are running out of time. So I do want to say I appreciate you having me come out here to Chicago, Illinois to interview you about your endeavors that you are going to captivate, because I do believe that you will get there. I don't know when, because nobody knows when. It's not if, it's when. So it will happen, I believe. I truly do believe. I do like the way you think. I like the way you talk, and I like the passion and the dedication and devotion you have to your craft, because hearing that you're going to quit your job at some point, I love that. I always advocate for quitting your job. I always tell people, quit your job. It's the first thing I tell them, just quit. Oh, but nah, just quit. I always tell them. Yo, for real.
Yeah, that's crazy talk.
Is there anything else you would like to tell them?
Man, just thank you, Haunted Boys, for taking me on, for being a part of that collective. Gave me a real platform. Shout out Studio Kai, Fox River Grove, and shout out Frozen Image Productions and my manager Amir. And thank you for coming out here, and it's been a pleasure to be on the show. It's my first ever interview.
Oh, well, you did great.
Thank you.
Well, and I do want to give I do want to give a shout out to Studio Kai. Is that what it's called?
Studio Kai.
I do want to give my own special shout out to Studio Kai for allowing me to come into his studio, bring up all my equipment from Charlotte, North Carolina, all the way to Chicago, Illinois. And to wrap this up, if you guys would like to see anybody on here, anybody that you guys admire, aspire to be like, I could get a hold of anybody. So if you want them on my show, let me know in the comments below. And remember to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see y'all next time on the world's most versatile podcast, or the most versatile podcast in the world, The Bean Dip.
Peace.
Peace.